Blog Talk Radio.
The funeral is about to begin, sir.
The calling hours.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
And welcome to the Calling Hours on Horror Society Radio. This is your host, Michael Jones, the Dedman from HorrorSociety.com. What's going on, people? It's another glorious night in the month of October as we inch yet closer and closer to Halloween. And speaking of Halloween, you know, we love our favorite horror movies and things of the like, and we'll have plenty to cover this evening. Tonight's guests, we will be interviewing Scott W. Perry, creator pretty much of the In Fear series on the internet. We're also going to have Larry Wade Carrell, who was the star of Autophobia, Fear of Abandonment, and was the creator of Jacob. We're also going to have Alfredo Salvatore Arcilesi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He was the writer and director of Nemophobia, The Fear of Memories. We're going to also have Heather Drew, who was the star of Dysmorphophobia, The Fear of Deformity, and also Maranthophobia, The Fear of Being Bound, and Glossophobia, The Fear of Speaking in Public. And also, one of our big stars, we're also going to have Ann Bobby in. She was part of, she's the star actually of Agoraphobia, Fear of Leaving Home, and the writer, producer, and star of Disposophobia, The Fear of Being Disposed of. She was also in Clive Barker's Nightbreed as well. So we're definitely going to have a mix of interesting guests this evening. If you have not checked out any of Scott's work yet, you definitely need to go check this series out. It's really unique. Scott has directed several. There have been several guest directors. And each one of them possess their own unique style. They don't follow a specific formula. Most of them are in between, about the 7 to 12 minute mark. But all the ones that I've watched so far have been highly entertaining. They have a great cast and crew. Definitely, if you're an indie film fan, you're going to recognize several of the names. Susie Lorraine immediately comes to mind. Of course, Heather Drew, and several others. So we are really looking forward to having them on later this evening, and that'll be about the 8:45 hour. So we are certainly looking forward to that. In addition, our DVD review this evening, at the end of the evening, will be Scream Factory's Blu-ray, part of the Amityville horror box set. We're going to be reviewing Amityville 2, The Possession. It's going to be a fun review. I was surprised with the amount of care and attention they gave to the disc, especially to the special features. And, I know I say that every week. I really shouldn't be surprised, but on such a consistent level, seeing what Scream and Shout Factory do for some of these releases is absolutely amazing, and we'll go into more detail in that, like I said, in the second hour. And speaking of Scream Factory, we will also be doing a DVD giveaway this evening. We do have a Blu-ray copy of Chilling Visions, 5 Senses of Fear, and it's a 5 short films, 5 groundbreaking visions, 5 reasons to be scared senseless. And, we've got Smell, directed by Nick Everhart, See, directed by Miko Hughes, Touch, directed by Emily Higgins, Taste, directed by Eric England, and Listen by Jesse Holland and Andy Mitten. So we have that, and in addition to that, we have a standard edition DVD release of George A. Romero's Day of the Dead from Scream Factory as well. So make sure to stay tuned about the 9:30 time. We'll probably be giving it away about then, so definitely stay tuned for that. Definitely stay tuned for the interview. And as we go on this evening, of course, we have our news segments. I pull news from different sites on the web, and including Horror Society, Arrow in the Head, Bloody Disgusting, Fangoria, wherever an interesting tidbit of news happens to land in my scope, so to speak. But let's start off first. This one came from our friends at Bloody Disgusting, and it's one that I'm really glad to see. Tom Savini's Grand Illusions books 1 and 2 are getting a single book re-release, and I'm really excited about this. The article goes on to say that Dark Ink Publishing is pleased to announce the release of Grand Illusions books 1 and 2 in one book for the first time ever. Tom Savini's classic and perennial books on special makeup effects has inspired generations of filmmakers, such as Peter Jackson. We went into brain dead with our imagination sparked by the Grand Illusions book, he's quoted as saying. Originally released in the early 80s and 90s, the books have become a staple for aspiring makeup artists, filmmakers, and movie lovers for generations by showing how to do effects through step-by-step techniques, using examples from Tom's films. With both books conveniently put into one, along with a new introduction from Tom, fans and filmmakers can now enjoy the ease of having both classic guides in one ultimate edition. Featuring dozens of pictures, illustrations, and examples from classic movies such as Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th, Creepshow, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Maniac, and many others, readers get to see firsthand how Tom created each amazing effect that made him a legend of the craft. Included in the book are great forwards from none other than Stephen King, George Romero, and Dick Smith. The book is now available to mass audiences through traditional distributors for the first time ever, giving these books an extended life that will no doubt inspire another generation. You can go to www.authormikedarkinc.com and www.tomsavinibook.com for more details. I'll be the first one to admit, being an effects artist and, a man of my age, Tom Savini's films, of course, were extremely influential to me and what I do as, as a reviewer, as an effects artist, anything I do with film. So, and I had both of these in their single edition. So it's really nice to see that the next generation of effects artists and film enthusiasts are going to be able to pick these books up, really see, where a true legend like Tom Savini, how he did his work and everything that he did. So, kudos on getting this out. You should definitely go and check out the book if you have not already seen it or if you do not own it. It'd be a great Christmas gift to anyone that's a big film fan or is an aspiring effects artist in your family. So definitely check that out. The next news bit I have is a fun bit of news, also comes from BloodyDisgusting.com. There's a new commercial for Die Hard batteries that features a zombie horde. And if you haven't seen this yet, you need to go check this out. This is probably one of the coolest commercials I've seen in a while. Basically, the setup is you see this young couple, a man and a woman, being chased by a zombie horde, and the guy jumps over the fence, and the girl pretty much gets caught, and he turns and looks at her and keeps running, and she winds up escaping, and he escapes to a car, and he tries to start the car, and the car won't start, and he's surrounded by zombies. She jumps into this truck that doesn't have a hood, and the zombies go to attack her, and she turns the key, and the truck cranks, and she drives away and survives. It's really a cool commercial. I love the way that it was done. Some of the verbiage from the article, they go on to say, if you're not using zombies to advertise your product, you're doing it wrong. The zombie subgenre is so oversaturated that even my parents stop dead in their tracks to watch a commercial if there's a single rotting corpse on the screen. I love this commercial, they exclaim. That's why more and more ad agencies are turning to zombies to sell products, which is pretty cool considering I grew up with my parents alarmed by my obsession. Now they're obsessed, but that's not cool, right? Anyway, here's an incredibly well-made new commercial from Die Hard Batteries featuring a horde of zombies running amok in the armpit of Los Angeles and a woman's attempt to escape them. Like I said, the production values are phenomenal. The zombies look great. Not knowing at first what it was, you would swear that you're watching a zombie trailer or something that could have been part of The Walking Dead. But the article does bring up an interesting point. Zombies are being used more and more all the time in mainstream marketing now. I know here in North Carolina we have several cell phone commercials that utilize zombies. You know, it's just funny to see it. It's, you know, you can talk about whether or not there's an oversaturation in the market. I always find it more fun to have mainstream horror be on my TV screen because it's something for the longest time we didn't see. It's nice to see the genre get its, you know, just rewards. And like I said, it's really a cool commercial. And if you haven't checked it out, head over to bloodydisgusting.com. It may even be on Die Hard or even Sears' website. So go check it out. I would love to see more from the guy that made the commercial. Maybe he has a future doing horror films. So definitely go and check that one out. But on to our next one, since you know Scream Factory is such a good friend of the show and everything. They have now announced that Crawl Space and The Beast Within will be coming out from Blu-ray, and I received the press release from my good friend Sarah DeBrune over there at Scream Factory, and several others. Bloody Disgusting and Fangoria also ran this, so this is pretty much open news here. But on December 17th, Claude Kinski stars in Crawl Space. If you haven't seen that, it's a really strange movie. The premise of the film is renters beware. Landlord Carl Gunther, Claude Kinski, for those of you who remember him, Nosferatu the Vampire, great actor, plays creepy roles when he can. Nosferatu was really good, but again, the premise: landlord Carl Gunther seems like a conscientious landlord who looks out for his female tenants. What they don't know is that he has an elaborate network of crawl spaces that he uses to watch their every move. Can a new prospective renter stop this apartment building's rapid turnover rate, or will Gunther continue to make a killing? And on that one, you've got audio commentary from director David Schmoller. Please Kill Mr. Kinski, a short film by David Schmoller. You have an interview with makeup effects artist John Vulich and his theatrical trailers. The film also starred Talia Balsam, who was in The Kindred, and Tanya McClure, who was in Death Spa. The film was directed by David Schmoller, who directed Tourist Trap, Catacombs, Puppet Master. Good film. I'm glad to see this is getting a nice Blu-ray release. Excited to see Claude in something else. You know, it's funny how Scream Factory films typically tend to highlight a certain actor or director after a period of time, especially with their John Carpenter stuff. The second film, which is coming out with that, is The Beast Within. And the premise of that one is a teenager is experiencing growing pains of a most shocking kind in this exciting, tense, and all-too-real story of a human into monster transformation. 18-year-old Michael McCleary, the progeny of an unholy union between his mother and a swamp beast, is on the verge of becoming a man. And as the inherited evil in his blood gnaws at his soul, Michael must return to the swamp to uncover the terrifying identity of his father before his natural tendencies force him to feed on the locals. The film has Ronnie Cox, who was in RoboCop, B.B. Besh, who was in Tremors, Paul Clemens, who was in Communion, L.Q. Jones, who was in The Wild Bunch, and R.G. Armstrong, who was in Race with the Devil. It's going to have audio commentary with director Philippe Mora and actor Paul Clemens. It's also going to have an audio commentary with writer Tom Holland and a theatrical trailer. So once again, Scream Factory is going out of its way to show that it has a reference for these, late 70s, early to mid 80s horror films that we all grew up watching. And, every time they give us something new. And I'm sure this isn't going to be the end of the special features. Scream Factory has a way of sneaking stuff in, like we'll find out tonight on the Psycho Blu-ray review. They had a really nice Easter egg hidden on there that I think some hardcore fans will enjoy. So really looking forward to bringing you that. But again, glad to see these coming out. And when we get more news on those, I will certainly let everybody know anything that's going on. Now, as far as releases go, I got this one from arrowinthehead.com, and this sounds exciting. It seems like VHS, even though everyone seems to declare it dead, is certainly continuing to find its way into the collector's market as a niche item. And what we've got now is Mondo is releasing the Maniac remake on VHS. And this is directly from the article on Arrow in the Head. Still rocking a VCR? Good luck for you. Mondo will be releasing Frank Calfone's Maniac remake in a limited edition VHS later this month in a clamshell case with randomly inserted purple cassettes for $25. The sale begins on Tuesday, October 22nd at a random time at www.mondotees.com. These things usually don't last long, so you'll want to keep an eye on Mondo's Twitter feed that day. For those of you that don't know the premise of the film, Frank, who's played by Elijah Wood, leads a deceptively peaceful life. To the outside world, he's a withdrawn and somewhat eccentric owner of a mannequin store. But his quiet facade masks an inner rage that forces him to brutally kill the women who manage to get too close to him. When a young artist named Anna appears one day at Frank's shop and asks him for his help with her new exhibition, Frank develops an obsession with her that threatens to completely destroy his already fragile psyche. Soon the streets become unsafe for any woman after dark as this newly awakened maniac begins to stalk and kill. Based on the classic 1980 shocker, Maniac is an intimate, visually daring, psychologically complex, and profoundly horrific trip into the downward spiraling nightmare of a killer and his victims. First of all, I believe we talked about Maniac last week or the week before, and, the original, for as grimy as it makes me feel every time I watch it, is still an amazing movie. And I still have not seen the new one. I want to see how Elijah pulls off the performance that Joe Spinelli did. I don't know if he can, but it's worth checking out. As far as the collector's version goes, I'm a sucker for horror in any format. I still collect, laser discs, VHS, RCA selected discs. It doesn't matter. Any cool format that I can get a movie in, I'll do it. And I think it's cool that even in this day and age, we still get collector's editions. So I would go and definitely, if you want to go check it out, go check it out on arrowinthehead.com or go to www. Let me make sure I get this right here. www.mondotees.com and stay informed, because it seems like they're going to be very limited editions. And, a lot of times the collector's market on these things go way up in price. And it's a chance to own something unique, for your horror collection. Not a lot of your friends probably collect VHS anymore. So here's your chance to own something just a little bit different and outside the norm. So I think I might have to order one. They look pretty cool. Well, and I think we've mentioned this before too, but this was on Arrow in the Head as well, and just because I'm behind it, I'll bring it up again. David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson want another X-Files movie. And I'm quoting from the article. During a panel discussion at a celebration of the 20th anniversary of the series premiere at the Paley Center for Media in New York Saturday, Anderson and Duchovny told fans that they are game to return for another go-round as FBI agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully in another film, with Duchovny saying, "All the principals are on board. Gillian and I want to do it, so it's really up to 20th Century Fox at this point." Anderson told fans that if they want another film, they should let their voices be heard, stating, "If it takes fan encouragement to get Fox interested in that, then I guess that's what it would be." Fox declined the comment Sunday, but a third X-Files movie is probably a long shot. But as the television series and 2 feature films showed us time and time again, stranger things have happened. The original X-Files made $189 million worldwide in 1998, and the 2008 follow-up, The X-Files I Want to Believe, brought in $68 million at the global box office. The writer goes on to say the truth is out there. Hopefully a third X-Files film is too. Personally, I would love to see another X-Files movie. I would really hope at some point some consideration would be made into them going back and doing the series again. I mean, if they're that interested in continuing to go back to the source material, I feel like there's a long way it could go if the X-Files were reinstated. You know, I'm not necessarily saying you have to have the cigarette-smoking man back or whatever conspiracy or the aliens, but I certainly feel like you could do a lot more with the series now that you may not have been able to get away with back during its original run. And even back then, I mean, there were certain episodes in the original run that were quite disturbing, but it seems like, you know, even if Fox didn't want to do it, you figure, why wouldn't someone like AMC pick it up? If they can do what they did with The Walking Dead, imagine what they could do if you gave them the X-Files. So it's certainly something to take into consideration. It's something to think about. I am certainly, as a fan of the series, not opposed at all to seeing the X-Files come back in some shape, form, or fashion. So, again, that's one of those ones that if I hear anything new, I will certainly pass word on to you. Now, the boss man over at HorrorSociety.com posted an interesting one. And while it might not be what's considered mainstream news, I definitely feel like it's something that fans of the show would be interested in. So we'll throw it out there. You can bid to win an incredibly rare Michael Myers mask from the original Halloween film. Excuse me. Mitch goes on to state in the article, in honor of the 35th anniversary of the original Halloween film, bid now on this exclusive piece of horror film history. Autographs on the mask include Jamie Lee Curtis, John Carpenter, Tommy Lee Wallace, Nick Castle, P.J. Souls, Nancy Loomis, Brian Andrews, Kyle Richards, Dean Cundy, Charles Cyphers, Rick Rosenthal, Will Sandin, Ray Stella, Nancy Stevens, and John Michael Graham. The item is actually donated by Jamie Lee Curtis. And there's a little excerpt in there. Last year, she was blown away by the warm reception she encountered at a horror film convention, and that experience led her to tap that community for her most recent philanthropic efforts with the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. Starting today until Halloween, fans can visit CharityBuzz.com and bid on a special Michael Myers mask autographed by Curtis and virtually every living member of the cast and crew. And that quote's from Inside Movies. Again, if you want to go and check out the item, it's on CharityBuzz.com. It is, to me, it's an extremely worthwhile event. When I went on there earlier today, the bid was currently at $2,800. The item is estimated with all of the signatures to be worth about $10,000. And when you look at the piece of history that you would be owning and who signed it, considering the movie and everything like that, you know, you have to be a hardcore collector to get something like this. But, you know, the money's going to a charitable cause So I definitely think, even as a horror movie fan, even if you don't place a bid, you should go check it out. Again, that's at www.charitybuzz.com. And look up the Halloween autograph mask. I mean, donated by Jamie Lee Curtis. It doesn't get too much more from the source than that. Now, our last bit of news item this evening, the Dedman was very fortunate enough to go out and check out a really cool haunted forest out in Youngsville, North Carolina. The name of the attraction is the Haunted Forest at Panic Point. Now, these guys are going to be on about 9:45 for a few minutes to talk about their haunt, how they got involved in doing it, the effort that went into it, and what they have. And they really have a nice mix of things there. I was highly impressed. It's not easy to scare me going out into a haunted forest. I don't jump it much, but I have to admit that their setup and the effort that they put into everything was extremely amazing. And it should go without saying as well, one of the things that's really exemplary about the whole thing is how great the actors were, the people that were in costume and actually doing the scaring. They did a really good job. They observed the rules that they were supposed to follow, and they really helped to make the whole thing a quite enjoyable experience. And they have several different things there. They have a corn maze. They have a haunted hayride. There's a dark walk. There's a haunted bus, a carny trailer. There's just so much that you can do. And there's games to win really sweet T-shirts from this place. And it's like zombie paintball. And they have, some of the actors dressed up as zombies running around out there. And if you tag enough of them, you win one of the free T-shirts. They even had nice concessions out there. Nothing that was outrageous. They certainly did not price gouge us, when it came to sodas and things like that. But like I said, they will be on. It's $15 to get in. That's for the Haunted Forest. You can also get VIP tickets if you want to move up in line, certainly. And then the other attractions, such as the Dark Walk and everything else, are a la carte. They're ticket-based, so you could buy like 5 tickets, and it's a certain dollar amount per ticket. But I will certainly have them talk about that when they come on. But if you're in the North Carolina area or are going to be here, anywhere near Youngsville, if you really want to go to a nice haunt, this is not for little kids. If your kid's under 12, I wouldn't take them. But it's good times for the family. It's, nothing too horrifying, but, you are in the dark. You do have people jumping out at you, so. But again, it was really well set up. It's well worth going to take a look at. And I think anyone that wants to take their family out there for the event would truly have a good time with it. So I would definitely recommend that anyone who likes to get scared heads out that way. So that's our news for the evening. In about a little less than 15 minutes, I'd say, we should be getting calls from Scott and everyone with In Fear Of, the series on the internet that Scott has developed. It's definitely an interesting series. The cast and crew that we're going to have on, we're going to have, of course, Scott. We're going to have Heather Drew and Larry Wade Carrell, Alfredo, Salvatore, and I'm sorry if I'm not saying your last name right. Arcilesi? I don't know. I apologize. And Bobby. So they'll be on in a few minutes, but in the meantime, we do have our Metal Blade Spotlight of the evening, and tonight's band is Rivers of Nihil. Now, these guys, some nice, aggressive, brutal death metal. This is good stuff. This is their first full-length studio album, released through Metal Blade. They've had 2 EPs before this. They're getting ready to go on tour, and I'll have more details about that after we come back from our musical break. But to start it off, again, tonight's Metal Blade Spotlight is Rivers of Nihil. The name of the CD is The Conscious Seed of Light, and the name of the song is Birth of the Omni-Savior. We'll see you again in 5 minutes. welcome back to the Calling Hours on Horror Society Radio. This is your host, the dead man, Michael Jones from HorrorSociety.com. You just heard Rivers of Nihil. The Conscious Seed of Light is the name of the CD. The song is Birth of the Omni-Savior. Once again, Rivers of Nihil is in the Metal Blade Spotlight. And just to give you a little bit of background information on Rivers of Nihil, They are from Reading, Pennsylvania. And in March of 2013, they entered the studios with Eric Rutan of Hate Eternal and Ex-Morbid Angel at Mango Recording Studios in St. Petersburg, Florida, to begin recording the album. As of right now, I know that they are doing a 50-date tour in the U.S. Let's see, October the 18th, they are going to be playing in Reading, Pennsylvania. The 20th, they're playing in Stanhope, New Jersey. The 22nd, Akron, Ohio. 24th, Peoria, Illinois. The 25th, Des Moines, Iowa. The 26th, Minneapolis, Minnesota. If my good friends Sarah and Joe are listening, they're coming up your way, guys. You should probably go to that show. October 27th in Chicago, Illinois. Madison, Wisconsin on the 28th. Cleveland, Ohio on the 29th. The 30th in Poughkeepsie, New York. And Halloween night, they're going to be in Worcester, Mass. They are playing the majority of those shows starting the 27th with Dying Fetus. So if metal is your thing, I definitely recommend you guys check out Rivers of Nihil. I'm hoping that they'll come to Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm not holding my breath on that, but I don't appear to be so lucky. But once again, great metal from Metal Blade Records. This is not the last time we will be hearing them this evening. About the 9:30 hour after our interview with our friends from the In Fear of series, we will be hearing from them again. So stay tuned for that. So let's get a little bit of background info on our friends. Scott Perry is the creator of the In Fear of series. He's a producer for the series, of course. He's also been the producer on several shorts, including 2012's Ghosts, 2010's Something Just, 2009's A Sweet Kind of Hollow, also Insatiable in 2009, and in 2006, Unadulterated. He's also done some show editing, some show writing. He's a director, of course, for the In Fear of series. So he's going to have plenty to tell us about, I'm sure. We should be hearing from them probably in about the next 8 minutes or so. So whenever they're comfortable to call in, they're most certainly welcome. Since we'll have a bunch of us on, Scotty, if you're listening, or any of the other cast or crew members, please feel free to call in, and we can start the interview now. But some more background info, of course. We will also have Heather Drew. She's an actress with several credits in the industry, especially in our genre. She's rumored to be attached to 2014 Sasquatch versus Yeti. I definitely want to ask her about that one. And Witch's Blood, which is also, it's according to IMDb, is filming now. Of course, she's in the In Fear of series. She's in I hope I'm saying these right, Maranthophobia, the fear of being bound or tied up, which was one of my favorite ones. I can't wait to talk to them about that episode. Dysmorphophobia, the fear of deformity, which was another strange one, and I'm going, I'm looking forward to asking her about that one. And glossophobia, the fear of speaking in public. So it'll be fun having Heather on as well. All of the cast. Excuse me. We'll also have Larry Wade Carrell, very accredited actor, Hidden in the Woods, of course, part of this series. He's Audiophobia, the fear of abandonment. Several other film titles that we'll bring up during the interview. We'll have Alfredo, Salvatore, Arcilesi. I hope I'm saying that right. We'll get that cleared up when he's on. but he did Nemophobia, Fear of Memories, and I mean, he has a ton of credits to his name, doing several different things in film, so this should be interesting. And, of course, Ann Bobby, she was in Agoraphobia, the fear of leaving the house, and Disposophobia, the fear of being disposed. She was also in Clive Barker's Nightbreed. So I'm certainly looking forward to speaking with everyone that was involved so far with the series. And if you have not checked the series out, the majority of them, or several of them, are definitely on YouTube. And it looks like we have my first call. Let us find out who the first is. The Calling Hours, Horse Society Radio. This is the Dedman. Hello? Hello? Well, don't know who that was. The call has dropped. If that was one of the guests, please call back in. But speaking of which, of Scott's company, Scott also, runs Slick Devil Entertainment. And, I've been mousing around the website there and looking at some of the projects and things that they have going on. We have titles of Something Just, Insatiable. They have Sweet Kind of Hollow and Unadulterated up as posters. They have some music videos that they've worked on. And, Scott seems to be, we're getting a call. Let me see who I got. This is the Dedman on Horse Society Radio. Who we got?
Hey, this is Heather Drew.
Hello, Heather. Heather is joining us. Oh, boy, the phone lines are lighting up. Let's get everyone here.
Lighting up, yes. It's Heather is here, Scott is here, so let's begin.
Heather and Scott are here, and who else do I have?
This Larry is here.
Larry is
here. Larry is here. Well, hi, guys. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you could come on.
Hello. Welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, no, for sure. I mean, first things first, I've been watching different episodes of the series, and one specifically that you guys were involved with, and I'm really impressed. And the thing that impresses me the most so far is how far-reaching each one is. None of them are the same, and they use different elements to get the stories told. So, let me just ask Scott first. Scott, this is your brainchild. You got everything rolling. How did the concept for the series first come about?
It really started as a way to get back into film. I had done an interview site for about 4 years. I'd made some short films before then, but I love the art of filmmaking. I love the art of collaborating, and I thought there would be a good idea to bring a lot of filmmakers together under one common goal. And I remember looking at this website called the Phobia List, and there were hundreds of these clinical phobia names listed, and I thought this would be a good idea for a series because it would be pretty much your basic element. And when everybody says horror is, the basic definition of horror is your fear. So what better way of exploring your fears than to explore the phobias that are created about it? So that's really how it got started.
I mean, so far from what I've seen, I've really enjoyed it. Now, Heather, let me ask you really quick. You've been in several of them. Let me get my titles right here.
I could pronounce them for you if you want because they're
really
hard.
Please.
Because I heard you earlier.
I was struggling with some of them, yes.
It's okay. It's okay. Now, you can imagine how I feel that I got 20 of them, so, my brain gets fried once in a while.
Well, it's even worse when he gets enthused to tell you about them and starts blabbing about the real actual names. I'm like, whoa, slow down. Which fear?
Yeah. It's Marinthophobia, which is the fear of being bound and tied up, and Dysmorphophobia, which is the fear of deformity. So.
And then you also have glossophobia?
Yes.
The fear of speaking in public listed. That's a feature episode, correct?
It is an episode, yes. Not a feature length, but it's an episode.
Okay. I mean a future episode.
Future episode. I thought you said feature.
Yes.
Yeah. No, we already shot it. We're still in post on that one.
Okay, well, Heather, now here's where I have to ask you. One of the I just found that particular there's something about that episode I can't quite put my finger on. It seemed like you and Kaylee you just had a connection with that, even though she's on there in the majority. The way that your character kind of sets everything up, almost it's like it's nonchalant. How did you go into playing that, and did the character know who he was?
Did I know I did not know that he was a killer. I knew he was a little odd and
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Oh no!
Sorry about that. Yeah, there's plenty of spoiling on this show. So
he's gonna kill me.
Spoiler alert!
God, I'm
that was
sorry.
my fault.
It's all right.
Oh shoot! Well, it's a wonderful episode, and trust me, it's worth a watch. But I knew there was something odd about the character, and me and Kaylee we hit it off. We had met the day before when I was actually a production assistant on it. And then we filmed on my birthday the next day, which was a nice gift for me to be able to film with her. And we instantaneously just became friends, and it really, I believe, showed on camera too. I hope it did. And
I thought the performances in that episode really stood out. I mean, I felt like there was personal connection between the two of you in the beginning. And then the other one that you did, dysmorphophobia, fear of deformity, that one was just eerily creepy. I mean, it was definitely an entirely different dynamic from the other one that you worked on. How, without giving anything away, because I don't want to spoil anything else, I'm sorry about the first one there, Scott.
I've learned
how did you prepare for roles that were very dynamically different from one another?
Well, deformity we had discussed beforehand, and I knew it was going to be a strain, but the wonderful thing was the location that Scott was able to find was an area that was destroyed by the hurricane, and it was leveled, and that really helped me get into the headspace and to get out of myself and just to feel feelings that everyone has to go through at a certain point in time in their life, but it's not a place you want to stay at, and I don't want to give away too much.
Right.
But the atmosphere and just in Scott's direction really helped me get to this alternate, this different state of mind, way different from the other episode, but it with his direction and with the setting and everything like that, it all melded together.
It was amazing, and we have another cast member, I believe, that is called in. Caller, who do we have now?
Hey, it's Ann Bobby. Who's this?
Hello, Ann. This is the Dedman from Horror Society. This is your host.
Hey, oh my gosh, I actually got through. I'm so sorry. I'm calling from backstage at the Beacon Theater.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we appreciate you calling in so much. So, of course, we have Ann, who was in several of the episodes. You want to do me the favor of saying them right for me, Scott, so I don't butcher everything?
It's okay. Ann is starting. Hi, Ann. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
This is like our informal In Fear of meeting. We're just going to do it live on the air. So, Michael, just stay aside. We'll just have our little meeting. Now,
this is where the best stuff comes from. You guys go.
Yeah. Ann was in Agoraphobia, Fear of Leaving Home, directed by the very talented Robert L. Broadmerkle. And also wrote, produced, and stars in Disposophobia, which is the fear of being disposed of.
Which it has one more day of shooting left to go.
Yes.
Well, I mean, everyone should have a fear of being disposed of, in my opinion. But, I watched
You know what? I'm going out on a limb here. I'm starting to realize that we are all hoarders in our own right.
Pretty much, yeah.
I really think that if we took a look at our email boxes and imagined our emails as actual pieces of paper,
we would be swamped.
I think we might actually be pretty frightened at how much we accumulate.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, I saw the Agoraphobia episode, and it took a minute to get it, but once I got it, the elements of that were amazing. And I'm trying not to give away spoilers, so I'll try to keep it as basic as I can on this. But how did you when you first read the script and the concept for the episode and what it was about, because it takes a step beyond the norm of what people would think of as agoraphobia, how did you prepare for that?
Actually, it took, that's a really good question, but I have to tell you, in all honesty, I am such a fan of the Twilight Zone that I immediately grasped what Bob was going for, which was, you know, what the Twilight Zone was always about, which was looking at life from a slightly surreal point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, what is horror is actually that big question. And agoraphobia, that particular episode, it's not necessarily an upfront horror. It's a horror of the psyche. It's a horror of the mind.
Right.
And that is kind of what immediately drew me to the script and the series. And sorry, Scott, I'm tooting your own horn, but really drew me to the entire vision of this idea of fear captured in cinema. And that's why I wanted so much to write a film about it. That's why I wanted so much to contribute an episode.
I mean, it's a powerful performance, and it's one that I highly recommend.
Thank you.
When that one comes out,
I just saw it for the first time the other day.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it
sent
considerably. But now, Larry, let's not forget Larry here. Larry, I didn't forget you. You were in Autophobia, the Fear of Abandonment. Now, tell us a little bit how you became involved with it, and it's hard to stay spoiler-free after seeing these things. There's so many little nuances I want to ask about stuff.
It's okay.
Give us your perceptions of the episode that you were in and how you became involved with the In Fear Of series.
Well, I met Scott. I was out pimping my movie Jacob, and he was out pimping the series at Macabre Fair in Long Island, and we just hit it off right away, and we became friends there. And then I ran into him again at Monster Mania, and I was suffering girl trouble, and he was consoling me. And I think I kind of gave him the inspiration for this episode, and we decided to do something together. He says, I got something in mind, and he sends me this script. I'm like, wow, this is great, this is perfect. And without giving away any spoilers, basically it deals with like unrequited love. And I don't think that there's anybody on the face of the planet, man, woman, dog, that hasn't loved somebody that hasn't, and you don't get that back, and it hurts and it sucks, and that's what really attracted me to it, because I think it's something that's fun to explore because everybody can identify with it, and I really think it's fun to take that concept and push it to the extreme so that other people don't have to go to the extreme. They can kind of live that out and play it out through an episode of In Fear Of.
Well, and that's something that I want to ask all of you. So, I mean, please, all of you, feel free to answer this. Like I said, one of the things that really appealed to me, and when I've been messaging back and forth with Scott on Facebook, the thing that's just so visually appealing to me is it's not like other episodic TV shows. You know how everything has kind of the same visual style or has the same auditory feel, Every episode that I've watched so far has had its own uniqueness about it. And, Scott, if we can start with you, was it always your intention to have it be, quirky in spots, almost funny like the episode that Susie was in, to going to, the dysmorphia episode with Heather that's just so by the time you get to the end of it, you're like, what the hell just happened? It's...
Well, to answer that, yes. That was definitely a reason why. I mean, that was in terms of I wanted it to be as vastly different from each other. And that was one of the things when bringing on different directors and different talents would be able to do. I wasn't interested in making the same thing. That kind of bores me. And it kind of bores me as a director myself because out of all the episodes that I've written and directed myself, they're not the same either. And I just feel... the horror genre is very wide, especially in horror, and I'm getting tired of the same people making the same crappy fucking movies every day, and it's just like, I'm kind of tired of that formula. And there's a huge definition of it, and I just wanted to bring everything under one banner and just see where it can lead to, where you have the psychological horror of agoraphobia, where you have the feeling of loneliness and abandonment, when you have the kind of the creepiness of merinthophobia to the comedy of insanity. So the fact that they're all different just shows how great this genre is, how much we love the genre, and how much we should embrace it.
Now, Ann, let me ask you, jumping to that, because you've done the acting end, and if I'm correct, won't you be producing and directing an upcoming episode?
I produced and wrote the script for my next episode.
Okay.
And
now,
actually, I couldn't agree more with Scott, but go ahead, please. What is your question?
Well, what I was going to ask you is, doing it from both the actress standpoint and the producing and the writing standpoint, how are you viewing the series, and what devices, have you thought of outside of the box to make the episodes different?
I guess, actually, both of the episodes that I did grabbed me on a very emotional level. We all have things that scare us, and there are things that scare us, and we can make light of them. There are things that scare us that are actually negated a little bit if we can, set a sort of comedic tone to them. But then there are things that are frightening, that are very, very primal. And this is where I got into agoraphobia and got into disposophobia, which is the episode that I've written. There are the episodes that are born of just being human beings and facing terror. And that, to me, is the most intriguing point. Just being alive in this time and place and facing absolute terror. That, to me, was what drew me to this series. That's what drew me to agoraphobia. I mean, honestly, Bob and Scott really hit pager to me with agoraphobia. When they sent me the script, I was all over it. I had to be involved with this. But the fact that they had touched on something that was so primal made me want to address something primal in myself. It's really creepy stuff. This is a series that is really pushing an emotional limit with people, I think.
Well, and to go along with Larry's question, some of the other phobias may be harder for the actors to portray. If you don't have a fear of going outside or a fear of spiders, it would be harder to play that role. You had mentioned with yours the fear of abandonment. You had just recently gone through a breakup and things like that. How much was it easier or harder in that aspect to actually channel that emotions into the role for the one that you were in?
I actually have not gone through a breakup recently. I don't know where.
No, I was talking about with Larry's.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Well, just with any role that I get, no matter what it is, I always try to go for a sense of realism, and I always strive that there's never a false moment on camera. I think that's just the ultimate sin an actress can do is be false. So, I really try to imagine if the situation was actually happening to me, how would I react? How would I feel? And I bring that with me into everything, and I've had a pretty strange life, and fortunately, I'm able to use everything I've ever been through, good or bad, the lowest lows, and I'm able to tap right back into them and bring them forth when I need them into a performance for a character. I mean, I can drop you tears at the drop of a hat, and it's this just part of, I guess, what we do as actors and actresses is just try to just make it as real as possible. So any role that I have, I can find something I can identify with. But obviously, having recently gone through that, it was it's funny. It was very easy at the time when we talked about it and discussed it. But by the time we actually got around to actually shooting it, I was pretty damn happy.
Yeah. I have to add that experience for doing Autophobia was so new to me because I had done filming. I had filmed everything within the tri-state area, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey. That was my first time out of my own element. And what Larry did was setting up everything that we had down there. He did such a fantastic job setting everything up, from getting the cast down there to the locations to what we were able to work with. I mean, the thing with abandonment is that we actually had the city of Beaumont where a lot of it's abandoned, and we had full access to the whole city. So we have Larry walking through abandoned buildings, like city skyscraper buildings that, you know, just look amazing on camera.
And a hard location to get anywhere else.
Yeah, definitely. But it was definitely a life-changing experience. I mean, this whole series has been, but especially doing Abandonment down in Texas was a great experience working with Larry, and had such a blast doing it. And he definitely brought his A game, as everybody else did.
Nice. Now, Heather, for you, and again, it's kind of hard, especially with wanting to talk about dysmorphia. For actors that have to act against stuff that may not necessarily be there, that's out of their line of sight, like if you're visualizing something or a hallucination, how much leeway, you know, does Scott give you with stuff like that? And when he gives you direction for things like that, how open is he to interpretation, and how well do you guys blend that together?
Well, me and Scott worked really well together, and what I think was our great dynamic was we stepped in another room, and we knew for deformity, I knew the gist, and I knew what was going on, and we had discussed it, and we actually made some tweaks the night before, which was great. He was open-minded, and we were talking it over, and we ended up coming up with a great concept to do for the next morning. And it was wonderful for him to sit there for 5 minutes and just go over every layer of the character and feel this. And do you remember a time when you had felt like this? I want you to draw from that. And he was really wonderful to work with and to get those emotions out. And he was very open to discussing it and to figuring it out, and to really direct it, and yet still be able to work with the actor and not a tyrant kind of thing.
Very nice, very nice. Now, Scott, let me ask you about this. Your production studio, Slick Devil Entertainment. Can you tell us a little bit about Slick Devil Entertainment, and you know, was it formed because of the In Fear of series, or did you bring the series to your own entertainment company?
Production studio, more like a production attic. Slick Devil Entertainment's been around for a while. I launched it in 2005 when I lost my job. It was my third job I lost in a year, and I got the severance pay. And everybody in my department, the department I worked at, I worked for a television company at the time. They all weren't sure what they were going to do, and for some stupid reason, I took the check and I said, I'm going to take this check, I'm going to make a film with it. Who's with me? And everybody's like, yeah, let's do it. All right. And everybody was happy, and I went home, and I went, how in the fuck am I going to do this? So it kind of went from that, but I've used that name pretty much since high school. And ironically, the first film I made, and this is really going full circle, but the first film I actually made in high school was a Nightbreed fan film.
Oh my God!
So
don't worry, Ann. My question about Nightbreed's coming up in a moment. So.
Oh God! Oh my God! Okay.
It will never see the light of day, by the way. This is what you do
when
you're 15.
Clive might want to option. You know that Scream Factory's putting out the uncut edition now, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we'll be talking about that. But Scott, you should talk to Clive and the boys at Scream Factory and get it on there as an extra.
No. Just no.
No.
Well, now let me ask you this though, since we're on the topic of Slick Devil Entertainment, and of course you're doing the series, IMDb, and we all know how IMDb can be. We all have IMDb pages, and sometimes you get stuff on there that you didn't do, and projects that you're rumored to be on and things like that. But for the most part, looking at your IMDb, I've seen that most of your work has been on shorts and the like, and In Fear Of is listed as a TV series. If it plays on TV, where does it play, even if it's internet TV? And are you looking to make the jump to feature films anytime soon?
That's a pretty good question. It's a question I don't know if I can answer just yet. As feature films, yes, I'm always looking to make the jump to feature films. Everybody who knows me and everybody in this interview panel knows that because they've seen a feature script that I've written, at least one. So that is definitely something I would like to do. Right now my heart is fully in this series and making sure the series is successful before I really think about doing anything else in the future, because everything else really rides on how this does. So, as far as TV, the only thing I can say about that is, even though this is a web series, there is plans that I am very, very early plans, but I am hoping to see if this could be on TV in the near future.
Okay. Yeah, I was certainly curious about that, and I think the quality of it, certainly lends to that. I love the ideas behind all of the ones that I've watched so far. And, like I said, I think with the quality of your production values and the talent that you have, certainly so far, that anyone, someone should pick this up. Now, you are currently on season 2. Do you already have season 3 lined up? How many phobias do you actually have lined up ready to go?
Well, as I said before, season 3 depends on how well season 2 does. There have been episodes that I've written that we haven't made yet. So I know that's a possibility. There is I've said this in other interviews and I've said this to people, there is a new phobia that's been invented since the creation of the series, which is called Scotophobia, and that is the fear of pitching new and fear of ideas to Scott.
Well, don't forget about my episode I want to do.
Well, Larry everybody here gets a pass. It's just like, I think 4 times a day I get a fear of clown or a fear of spider proposal, and I'm kind of like, I kind of don't want to do that, because one of the things about the series is I like looking at the more interesting ones, the ones that we don't really know much about. Right. Did anybody think there was a fear of being deformed? Did anybody think there was a fear of being disposed of? No, and this is what's bringing that to the forefront. I just think it's more of a challenge to do phobias, and even like fear of abandonment. There's more challenges to do phobias like that. I just don't think fear of clowns presents that much of a challenge.
You got my fear of watching M. Night Shyamalan films, which will be interesting.
I think that's a great phobia. We need to get that one booked.
Yeah.
But Larry,
I gotta say real quick though, Alfredo unfortunately is having phone problems, so he's not going to be able to join us tonight. So.
That's all right.
Alfredo,
I can always do an interview with Alfredo at a later time, a written interview, or have him on the show. So.
Well,
it's quite all right, Alfredo.
His favorite film is The Village, so you two are going to have a wonderful conversation when you two meet Larry.
Dude, if I ever see M. Night Shyamalan, I'm going to kick him right square in the nuts and say, that's for The Village.
Okay. Well, Larry, let me ask you real quick. Of course, it's been brought up, that you created Jacob. Why don't you tell the fans a little bit about Jacob and how all that came to be?
I guess the quickest way to tell you what Jacob's about is Robert Englund summed it up best. He saw some of it and said, "Wow, this is cool, Larry. This is like if Mice and Men meets Friday the 13th," and that's exactly pretty much what it is. It's a story of Jacob. He's a 6'4", 16-year-old kid that weighs about 400 pounds. So he hears voices that tell him to do things like take cats apart and burn down the neighbor's barn. Now, these voices are not just in his head, they're a supernatural force, and he has a little baby sister that also hears these voices, but she keeps him in check. She makes sure he doesn't listen to him, don't do that, and that all works pretty good till one day the drunk stepdad comes home, tragedy strikes, sends Jacob off in a rage, and murders half the town in one night.
Oh, man.
So that's pretty much Jacob, and you can catch it. It's on Netflix, it's in Redbox, it's in a lot of retailers all over United States, Canada, Indonesia, Greece. It's out there.
Has it done well for an indie film? How do you feel like audience reception has been and stuff like that?
Well, the torrent people love it. And no, it only came out last April. We just got our first quarter report. We're above projections. And, for what it is, it's doing great. I'm really, it's not a perfect movie, but it's a good snapshot of where I was as a filmmaker, and I'm proud of the job everybody did. And most importantly, it's a stepping stone to the next film, which I'm really looking forward to.
Very nice, very nice. Now, Ann, I warned you that this is coming, so I have to ask. Clive Barker's Nightbreed. There has been so much fanfare over the Cabal cut of this film, and they finally got all the footage together from Morgan Creek, and they put it back together, and it's been going out and touring and playing. And it was recently announced that Scream Factory is picking the movie up in the Cabal cut format. Are you surprised to this day how much love that film still has, and how excited are you for Clive's original vision, the Cabal cut, to actually be seen on film?
Well, I'm actually not surprised by the response. I signed on to the film because I believed in the story, and I'm excited that people caught on to the story despite the cuts that Morgan Creek took to the film. I'm actually, it's very refreshing, but am I surprised? No, because you know what? I actually believe that people who love the genre love the mythology of horror. I think that mythology is behind all horror and all science fiction and fantasy. And so it's a real, I guess it's kind of an affirmation, it's kind of a redemption that people have sort of caught on to Clive's story. I'm intensely excited that Nightbreed is going to have this release. If you haven't, have you actually seen any of the Cabal cuts?
No, I have not. Where I'm at, it did not come anywhere close enough to me to go see it on tour. Now, I've heard rumors, and working in the film industry, I'm just one of those guys that doesn't believe in downloading bootlegs. So it didn't feel right to me to download it or buy a bootleg. But
I kind of envy you, because Russell Charrington is constantly tweaking with the story. So with every generation, with every viewing of this, I'm going to Convolution over Halloween weekend, and it's going to be Russell's latest, and I'm sure it's totally different from what he's got in his hands right now. He's always tweaking this film. This is going to be...
I'm excited. Scream Factory is one of the companies that provides DVDs for us to review on the show, and they've just always done tremendous DVDs. And they're listening to the show, by the way. So, have they contacted you yet about being on the special features or anything for that DVD?
You know what? To be totally honest, I'm so knee-deep in shooting this film. If anyone is contacting me, I've got a backlog of emails, up to way past my head. So it's entirely possible that they have, but I'm so, engrossed in, getting the Infira series, locked up.
So you can blame me for that, You could just blame me totally.
Sorry?
You could just blame me for that. You could just say, hey, I want to contact you, but it's Scott Perry's fault. So.
I'm always happy to blame you, Scott. It's easy.
But you joined the club. That's basically easy. So.
Well, to Tom and Sarah out at Scream Factory, if you're listening, or when you listen to this, you need to contact Ann. She definitely needs to be a part of the special features. Now, the last thing I'll ask you about Nightbreed, and I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone about it. Go ahead.
I really do think that it's just going to be such a perfect representation of Clive's vision. And, I can't wait to see Russell again and sort of see how much he's changed. I'm seeing, every other version of it, and he's constantly changing it.
Well, I said, I can't wait to see it.
And it's getting really, really loud here, so I'm going to duck out because it's getting, so incredibly loud. Jeff Beck is about to perform.
That's all right. Well, we thank you so much for being on, and thank you for answering all of our questions.
Oh, my
No
God,
problem,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Take care. Scott,
Thanks, Sam. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I believe we do have a Canadian person here.
A Canadian, eh?
Do we?
Oh, I do have a call. Let us see who I've got.
Do we get through from Toronto?
Hello,
this is the Dedman.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, I can. Who have we got? Is this Alfredo?
I've got you got Alfredo on his fifth calling card.
Oh, poor Alfredo.
Yeah, that's Canadian. That's Canadian phone service for you guys.
No, I don't like to make fun of Canadians,
right?
since I'm a big hockey fan, so I can't make fun of Canadians.
Hey, my Leafs are killing it right now, so I'm in a good mood.
And my Rangers aren't, so I'm not.
Well, let's Alfredo, since you came on, let's get to you here. You were involved with the episode. Do you want to pronounce this one for me, Scott? Because I know I pronounced this one wrong.
I'll let Alfredo.
It's
Alfredo?
called Nemophobia. The end is silent, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah. Pure memories. And, I've made the mistake of calling it Nemophobia, which is obviously not the way to say it.
All right.
Yeah, I've been pronouncing them wrong all night, so I feel bad. I'm not trying to butcher Scott's work or anything, but
it took me 5 months to get them right, so you're fine. Okay.
There's a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
So, Alfredo, tell us a little bit about the episode that you were in and everything that was involved with it. That's non-spoiler. We're trying to keep it non-spoiler.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'll just kind of backtrack a little bit. I met Scott and Steve Glassner back in January 2013, well, this year, at the Macabre Film Festival, Long Island. It was my first time in Long Island ever, and he saw For Clearer Skies, which was playing there. He enjoyed the film, invited me out to direct an episode, and I believe Steve had read a feature script I had written called Yellow Brick Road, and which is sort of like a modern take on The Wizard of Oz. And he said, well, why don't you write the episode as well? And they assigned me Nemophobia, which was fear of memory. And basically the episode takes us through a mother and daughter, and it's about, did I say about, by the way? Did you guys catch that? It's the story follows a mother and daughter and how they deal with the memory of a loved one that they lost. And for one of them, it's a positive thing, and for one of them, it's a very negative thing. And then we go from there.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Scott, anything you want to add to that one?
It was just great having Alfredo come down and do it because his vision for the episode and doing it was one of the more difficult ones to put together. It was I put it in Aiken to when we did Abandonment with Larry because Alfredo was coming into an area that he didn't know very well, as I did going down to Texas. So how we were able to get everything together for him, and we were able to pretty much knock it out of the park with the episode in terms of the cuts that I've seen so far with it. But I would say challenging, but in a very, very positive way. And what I love about, when I saw Alfredo's film, For Clearer Skies, I just saw he has a very unique vision, but he knows how to get his point across. Watching him work as a director was just another great experience as well because he knows what he gets out of the actors without pushing them, and he knows exactly what to say, and he's very, very clear on what he wants.
I mean, all good qualities to certainly have as a director. I mean, so, the more direct, the more your director can state what he's looking for and articulate it in a way that makes sense to the cast and crew is always a benefit. I mean, that goes without saying. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I would categorize Memories. I don't know if you would agree with me, Alfredo. It's more of a gothic drama than anything.
Yeah, you've been calling it that, and I think that's actually been sinking in the more and more I look at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot having to do with the setting that we had, which was very decorative and kind of almost Elizabethan or Victorian, Norman Bates kind of thing going on, and at least in the living room stuff, right? So it's very it's got a different look, so which totally supports the story. I just want to say, it was my first time shooting kind of out of my element in terms of different country. We based off whatever shot list we had off of maybe 2 or 3 photos, and working with a crew outside of Phil Sportel, who is my DP on the shoot, who I never worked with, and a cast that was kind of changing as we were leading up to the shoot dates because schedules were kind of being conflicted, and it's a very interesting experience. I mean, for me, it was almost kind of like doing a 48-hour challenge, right? So,
pretty much, yeah.
But it was, So it was really fun, and I'm very happy with the product that we have, and I think we should have the episode complete within the next month or so.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
I have to give a special shout out since Alfredo mentioned him. This series, I mean, it's been, I've been series creator. I've been involved with all the episodes this season, but this series would not be what it is if it isn't for Steve Glassner, with all the work he's done with it as well. Steve is the one who introduced me to Larry and Alfredo. Steve is the one who really got a lot of things together for Memories at the last minute. He came down to me. He's been a cinematographer on 12 of the 14 episodes for this season. And he has just been working his tail off with me in terms of getting everything set. His own episode that he put together, Hydrophobia, I just took a look at some footage today, and it's amazing. And the commitment and the excellence he's put into the series has been, I'd probably be more insane than I am right now, and probably a little bit less hair if it wasn't for Steve. But the hair is okay. I can just steal some from Alfredo.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, you could have some of mine. There you go.
Excuse me. Well, Heather, I wanted to ask you, when several people on the website heard that you were going to be on the show tonight, one film in particular keeps coming up with your name, and I want to see what you can tell us about this film. What is the deal with Yeti versus Sasquatch?
Sasquatch versus Yeti. We shot a trailer, I believe, in March, and actually it's by the director Jonathan Moody, and I him through friends. I went to a film festival, and I had contacted some people, and then he actually found me online, and we just started talking about this film. And I go to a horror acting school taught by Pamela Kramer. She's a casting director and producer. She casted for Dante Tomaselli. And one of the things we do in that class is we explore different genres of horror. And I had yet to do a horror comedy. And I saw Sasquatch vs. Yeti, and I don't know, but instantaneously I was drawn to it, and I knew I, for some reason, had to be a part of this project. So we spoke more and more about it, and he told me some of the people he was bringing in, like Matthew Ewald and a few other people, and I was like, all right, you know what, let's go. We'll shoot a trailer. He got me down by train, and we went and we shot it, and it was an absolute blast, and we intend to shoot it at the beginning of next year. And yes, there's a big Sasquatch. Yes, there's a big Yeti. Yes, they kill lots of people.
I mean, yeah, like I said, when your name came up, several people were like, you got to ask her about this movie. Because, I mean, we've been seeing stuff on it for Facebook for a while, but, we never heard anything definitive. But we've got about 7 minutes. What's that?
I was going to say, there is a teaser trailer that's shot, so that should be, you're able to find that on the internet, and I know if you go to the webpage for it as well on Facebook, you can check that out.
Okay. Well, we have about 6 minutes left in the interview, so here's what I want to do. All of you have been involved with the In Fear of series. It seems to be doing very popular. I in particular enjoy several of the episodes. I certainly plan to incorporate reviewing them into my review series. But what does the future hold for all of you as it relates to this series? I mean, who's coming back for more? Who's got or any of you, tongue-tied, any of you also looking to direct episodes or write episodes for the series? Scott, of course, I know you will be.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody here on this panel is, as I said, the Scotophobia joke aside, I mean, I enjoyed working with just about everybody on this season, and especially with Alfredo and Larry and Heather, and whatever I'm working on in the future, they're going to be a part of it. So, I'll do everything I can to make sure that they're a part of it. Because the one thing that I've learned, especially from this year, the one stat that I'm actually most proud of with this season is the fact that when you take all the episodes together, over 150 people have worked on it. And the fact that, one idea can bring so many people together in one common goal into doing this is it's just amazing to me. And, these weren't just making films, these were experiences. And I wouldn't trade the experiences I've had working on these films with anybody, because they're just great people to work with. We love film, and we just love creating art, and that's what it's all about. And I think that's a forgotten, especially in the horror community, I think that's forgotten in a lot of places. And I hope that this series will help bring that back and just make us remember why we fell in love with this genre in the first place.
Well, before everyone goes, let's go ahead and do this with everybody. Scott, give everyone the web address for the site, where they can watch your videos. Are they available on DVD, stuff like that?
All right. Well, they will be available on DVD soon. Once we have the season done, we're still getting the second season together. I'm looking at things to do with the first season. There's just a couple of things I need to work out first. The first season is available on YouTube until right after Halloween, and then we're going to be pulling it, and we're going to be putting it somewhere else. But you can check out the website as a whole at www.infearoftheseries.com.
And I highly recommend everyone goes and checks this out. You've got to start watching these. Heather, please tell everyone official website, Facebook, any projects you have coming up that you want to promote.
Yeah, you can find me at heatherdrewacting.com, or you can go on Facebook at Heather Drew Actress or Heather Drew. You can just Google my name and my personal page will come up, and you're welcome to contact me. A lot of my videos, there's a web series that I did that's hysterical called True Stories, thewebseries.com, which I love. It's one of my favorite things. I did it with a very close friends of mine. I just shot a TV pilot for a show called Asking With Me. So hopefully that will be on TV soon. And let's see what else. And I'll be going to Virginia to shoot, actually with John Moody, for another Scary Stories Bummer Party. So that should be a fun one.
Alfredo, please tell everyone where they can look you up, your website, future projects.
Okay, so for starters, you could check out all my past, present, and future works at arcilesifilms.com. So that's ARCILESI films.com. And there's several things on the go right now. We're finishing our second feature film called Cancer, which is actually spelled Answer with the letter C in front of it, which is sort of like a feature-length follow-up to For Clear Skies. We've got Memophobia, of course, another short film called Reality Check, and another one called Green Peaks and Valleys. Currently writing a new feature film for hopefully the end of, or beginning of spring, rather, of the new year. And a whole bunch of music videos, it seems like, are on the horizon as well. So quite a bit on the plate.
Very nice, very nice. Larry, please, where people can look up your work, what you got coming up, everything like that.
Best thing you can do is just Google Larry Wade Carrell, and all kinds of things will come up, mugshots, indecent pictures. But also, the best thing to do is just go to my IMDb page, and you can see all the films I've done and everything that's coming out. Also have a Facebook and a pretty raunchy Twitter you can follow for fun. And right now I'm working, I've got about 5 or 6 films going all in Los Angeles, doing a lot of work with Blanc Bean Productions. That's Michael Bean and Jennifer Blanc Bean's production company. And it's just having a blast, man. So check me out, follow me. And definitely looking forward to doing more work with Scott and the whole Inferior crew. It's been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, we want to thank you for coming on. You're always welcome here on the show and at Horror Society. If you ever have news or projects that you guys need promoted, you guys all have me on Facebook. Please feel free to hit me up at any time. Maybe one day I can make it up there and work with you guys. I do a little bit of effects work myself, so.
All right.
But I really do appreciate you coming on. What's that?
All right.
I just have one more comment. At Buffalo Screams, some of the episodes will be showing, as well as the Macabre Fair Film Festival in Long Island coming up in January. So for anyone who wants to check out Inferior.
Yeah, Marindophobia is going to play at Buffalo Dreams on Saturday, November 9th, and at 6 episodes are going to be playing at the Macabre Fair. Hopefully 7. I'm going to see if I can get a 7th in there. It depends on what we get done, but that's probably going to be like an unofficial premiere for the season for sure.
Very nice. Well, everyone, thank you for being on. And again, anytime you need anything promoted, hit me up. Let me know at Horror Society. And if you ever want to come on the show again, please feel free and drop me a line, okay?
All righty.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And I'll make sure that that you guys get the archived copy sent to you tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All righty. Bye.
Bye-bye. Once again, I would like to thank our guests for being on this evening. We had Scott W. Perry, the creator, director, and producer of the In Fear of web series, or soon to be, hopefully, TV series. We also had actress Heather Drew. We also had Larry Wade Carrell. And damn it, I forgot to ask Alfredo the proper way to say his name. Alfredo Salvatore Arcilesi, I believe. And we had Ann Bobby, once again, all from the In Fear of web series. Great guests. So, right now, we are going to do our DVD giveaway. If you would like to win a copy, a Blu-ray copy, of Scream Factory's Chilling Visions, 5 Senses of Fear, and a standard definition DVD release of George A. Romero's Day of the Dead, please feel free to give us a call here. Our phone number, if the computer will stop acting funny for the show, is 347-237-5099. So the first caller to call in with that will receive the copy of those DVDs. At this time, we are going to go back to our Metal Blade Spotlight. The band is Rivers of Nihil. The CD is The Conscious Seed of Light, and the song title is Soil and Seeds. When we come back in 5 minutes, we will have our DVD review of Scream Factory's The Amityville Horror 2, The Possession, and hopefully the guys from Panic Point will be giving us a call. So enjoy Soil and Seed.
Journey around through the
Rivers of Nihil. The CD was The Conscious Seed of Light. The song was Soil and Seed. They were our Metal Blade spotlight band for the evening. They're going to be touring what appears to be the Midwest, so definitely check them out if you are fans of Morbid Angel and that style of metal. This band is definitely up your alley. So thanks again to Metal Blade and my good friend and contact out there, Kelly, for sharing this new CD with us. And at the end of the show, we will have next week's featured artist. So while we're waiting for our friends from Panic Point to give us a call, we're going to talk about Scream Factory's Blu-ray release of Amityville 2, The Possession, that is part of the Amityville Horror Trilogy box set. And don't forget, we still have our Blu-ray DVD giveaway of Chilling Visions, 5 Senses of Fear on Blu-ray, and a standard definition DVD copy of George A. Romero's Day of the Dead from Scream Factory. If you would like to own these films, please give us a call at 1-347-237-5099. So I'm just going to cut to the chase here on Amityville Horror. This is an amazing Blu-ray. Once again, there's just no need to even doubt Scream Shout Factory's DVD capabilities anymore. For those of you not familiar with the backstory of the second Amityville, before the residents at 112 Ocean Avenue became infamous in the Amityville Horror, its supernatural legacy of terror had already begun. Inspired by the true story, a chilling prequel, Amityville 2: The Possession, is a horrifying, special effects-laden encounter of pure evil. Although the Montellis are not exactly the perfect family, at least they found the perfect home. Now, even though a liquid that looks a lot like blood starts gushing from the kitchen faucet and every window has been nailed shut, it still qualifies as their dream house until all hell breaks loose. A local priest tries to rid the house of unclean spirits, but what he doesn't yet suspect is that teenage son, Sonny Montelli, has been possessed by a murderous demon hell-bent on total destruction. Also starring Burt Young, Rutanya Alda, and Diane Franklin. You know, as far as a follow-up goes to the Amityville Horror, you know, technically it's a prequel, and I thought it was actually a very well-done prequel. You know, it kind of slips another family in between the original, you know, the DeFeos and the Lutzes. And, you know, it's actually not bad. There's a lot of creepy elements incorporated into the film. The physical possession and some of the air bladder makeup effects that were used were, you know, they don't look bad. They hold up pretty well for a film from this time period. You know, one of the, it's interesting in the special features, you know, we have the possession of Damiani. That's an interview with director Damiano Damiani, who, you know, sadly has passed since, but it was nice to get his views, you know, on the film and what he thought of it. And then you had Adapting Amityville. It's an interview with screenwriter Tommy Lee Wallace, and you know how the book was used as an adoptive piece, and surprise, you know, what his general thoughts of the film were. The interesting interview I thought was Family Matters. It's an interview with actress Diane Franklin, and she brings up several interesting points in her interview. In particular, the dynamic between her and her brother. You know, there's the hint of, or actual incest occurs in the film, and she talks about how, you know, a lot of it got cut down in the film and things like that, and how she managed to play the role, which I found was interesting. She had a sister, but she did not have a brother growing up, so you know, the innocence, you know, the love part of her brother, you know, how she talks about that was actually quite fascinating. Then we have A Mother's Burden, which is an interview with actress Rutanya Alda. She talks about being on set with the director and the rest of the cast, and you know, who she bonded with, and the things that go along with that. And then we had Father Tom's Memories, which is a new interview with actor Andrew Prine. I thought it was a little short. It would have been kind of cool to hear a little bit more, about his thoughts on playing the priest and the things that went on in the movie. But one that I found really interesting, and it ran a little over 20 minutes, was there's an interview with ghost hunter author Alexandra Holzer. And she, growing up haunted, a ghostly memoir. Her father did a lot of the research into this film and was involved with the screenplay and everything that went on with that. And he was the renowned ghost hunter. And she talks about how he feels about the films and how she would like to follow in his footsteps and, things along those lines. So, it's actually very good. And then she actually does an audio commentary for the film as well. And then we have the theatrical trailers. One of the interesting details of note, just for those of you that like to pay attention to specs, the runtime on the back of the box says 100 minutes. The film runs actually about 104, almost 105 minutes before credits roll, about 108 after credits. So I'm not sure if that has anything to do with anything, but I just thought it would be an interesting thing to point out. So it's definitely worth picking up. It's great as part of the box set. Hopefully the company will consider releasing it as a separate film. So, but overall, it's well worth it. There is an Easter egg of note. If you go to the special features menu, there is a sign on the second page of the Amityville house for sale, and it actually, if you click on it, it's about 5 minutes of footage with Academy Award-winning effects artist Stéphane Dupuis, and he recalls a couple of the details of the shooting of Amityville 2. So, all in all, great disc, great as part of a box set. If you're a fan of the series, I highly recommend picking it up. Even if you're not a fan of the series, it's still a worthwhile film and gives you an interesting perspective into the Amityville events. So I do have a caller. Hello, caller. This is the Dedman from Horror Society on the calling hours. To whom am I speaking?
Hello, this is Jeff Higley from Panic Point. How are you?
Hey, man, how's it going? I'm glad you called in. At the top of the show, I talked a little bit about the haunt and everything I saw out there. And
good.
First off, let me say this. I think it's a fantastic haunt. It's very obvious that you can see the time and the effort that you guys put into putting your haunt together.
We appreciate it.
Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about the history of Panic Point and how you guys got started?
Well, Brian and I, Brian unfortunately wasn't able to make the call. He's actually out in the forest right now doing a little tweaking and enhancing as we speak. We were business partners. We're also brother-in-laws, and we were in the business world together. We were real estate investors, and things were going fine. Things were going great. Business slowed down when the real estate market slowed down, and so Brian and I were thinking about things that we might want to do, and some friends of mine up in Maryland had been doing a haunted forest for 20 years, Markoff's Haunted Forest, and I grew up with them. And so we went up and talked with them, went up and saw their haunt, saw how the layout was done, and figured, hey, this is something that we could try down here in North Carolina. And so 3 years ago, we started looking for some land where to do the project. And after about 3 or 4 or 5 months, we found a property that we actually thought was ideal for us, just outside of the Raleigh metro area, close enough where people can go to it, but still far enough where people, it feels like they're going out in the country to kind of give it the atmosphere of going out and being a little spooky, just kind of use enhancement a little bit. And so we started. Our first year was 2011, and we both started with what we call a shoestring budget. We use the enhancements of the forest, use a lot of lighting, and relied mostly upon volunteers that first year. And as we've gone through it over the last 3 years, we've learned a lot. There's no question about it. We've learned what works, what doesn't work, and how we were able to better provide not just a scary experience for people, but also an experience that they will want to come out over and over again. We actually get quite a bit of repeat customers during the course of a year, and we just we have a DJ that plays music in the middle, and he kind of acts as the MC, and we have our main attraction, which is the Haunted Forest, and then we have 6 other side attractions, as well as a zombie shootout, which is basically a paintball shooting gallery, which is quite popular amongst the teenage males out in Youngsville and in Raleigh. And we also, we give away shirts. We have carnival games that we give away shirts for, that helps our advertising as well. We just try and get the Panic Point name out as much as possible. So that's basically the backstory of how Panic Point came about.
Now, kind of give people an idea, how far out ahead of time do you have to start preparing, especially for the Haunted Forest? Because all told, when you walk it out, it's about a half mile, isn't it?
It's a half-mile walk. We start really right after the forest ends. We go through and we say, okay, what worked? What didn't work? What can we make better? Brian and I, this has actually now become our full-time occupation. We do mud runs out there. We have a zombie escape mud run that we do each September as well. It's a 5K mud run that people just really completely get gassed about. But we really start building. We like to build in the wintertime. It's not too hot out there, so we do all of our planning. We do that, and then we start tinkering during the summer, and we do our final push usually about we coincide with the race in September. August and September are our busiest months, so we prepare for both of them. But we do final touches towards the end of September after the mud run has happened. So, but it's a year-round process for us.
Okay, now for those that want to come out and see it, can you give everyone an address and kind of a location and what the cost is to see the forest and the other attractions? Sure.
The address is 2808 Cedar Creek Road in Youngsville, and that's about from downtown Raleigh. It's about a 25-minute drive northeast of the city. The hours are 7 o'clock to 9:30 on weekday nights. We open this Thursday and Friday and Saturday, but the weekends we're open 7 to 10:30. The cost is $15. You can get online discount tickets from Sunday through Thursday night, and we also have group discounts of $10 for groups of 10 or more, and we also have military discounts we get military discounts that are $10 as well for valid military ID personnel and their families.
Very nice. And all the side attractions you can get tickets for separately as well.
That's correct. We do have the side attractions. They usually are about. We do them on a ticket system, and most of them are 2 to 4 tickets, and the tickets are $1 a piece, or $6 for $5, or what most people buy. They end up getting 15 for $10, which basically covers the ability for you to go and see all of the additional side attractions, and that's usually the most popular package. You buy the 15 tickets along with the ticket entry to the Haunted Forest.
Very nice. Well, like I said, I had fun coming out there, and to let my fans in North Carolina know, I'm going back out there this Saturday, and I'm going to help do some makeup for the haunt. Maybe if you guys need an extra haunter, I'll be happy to go out there and scare people too.
Hey, listen, we're always looking for quality haunters, that's for sure.
Well, I'm looking forward to coming out and doing it. Do you, before I let you go, do you have an official website, Facebook, anything to help people get more information about the haunt?
Absolutely. Our website is www.RaleighHauntedHouse.com. You can find our Facebook page at Haunted Forest at Panic Point, and you can follow all of the happenings and the pictures that we upload on our Twitter page, and that's at Panic Point NC.
Excellent. Well, man, thank you for coming on. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys Saturday, and let's scare the hell out of some people.
That sounds great. Thanks for having us on.
No problem, man. And once again, guys, that is the Haunted Forest at Panic Point. I'm going to be out there this Saturday helping to do makeup. Check out the Zombie Shootout, the Carney trailer, the Howling Hayride, the Menacing Maze, the Ghost Bus, and the Dark Walk. So check them out at RowleyHauntedHouse.com, and that's in Youngsville, North Carolina. So once again, I think we had a tremendous time this evening. I'd like to thank all of our guests, Scott, Ann, Alfredo, Larry, and Heather, all from the In Fear Of series. Make sure you go and check those guys out. I want to say thank you again to our friends at Scream Factory for letting us review this Amityville 2, the Possession Blu-ray DVD. And once again, thanks to our friends at Metal Blade Records for allowing us to spread the joys of metal during our favorite time of the season. Tonight's spotlight artist was Rivers of Nihil. The Conscious Seed of Light was the CD that we highlighted. And now, as we begin to leave, our spotlight will be on next week's artist. The name of the band is Facebreaker, and this stuff's pretty brutal. I'm looking forward to enjoying it. So the name of the CD is dedicated to the flesh. The name of the track is Zombie Flesh Cult. And until next week, everybody, rest in peace.